Good morning. It's Ice Age TV Saturday morning. Oh boy, caught the red light, caught the yellow light, right? Hey, what vehicle am I in today? I am in the Ford Ranger today. So, if you look at this past week, and I even keep track of what I've driven this past week. So I'm going to say Monday, I drove the F-250 Tremor black truck, and I did the tow video. And then on Tuesday, what I do Tuesday? Part of me says I drove the Expedition. That was either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I drove the Toyota Supra down to the dealer, and I sold that. Then on Wednesday, wow, it's like mind-boggling. I don't remember anything. Wednesday, what I drive on Wednesday? I don't know. Did I drive my Tremor truck? Yeah, good question. Then Thursday, any more as you get older in life. Now we know for one thing for sure. Yeah, Thursday I drove the F4. So Friday, and then I drove the F-450, and I ended up selling the 450. Yikes. But I'm just on a total. I know one day I didn't drive around, which that's very, very rare. So I think that was the day I sold the Supra. But then it's just a total who knows day. So anyways, here we are on the Ford Ranger day, and yesterday I drove the Ford Mustang Bullet. So that's what I drove on Friday, the Mustang Bullet and the F-450, because my daughter followed me in the Bullet. And then I got this wild idea to maybe buy, after I sold my F-450, to trade in the Bullet for the Tremor truck, the Tremor F-250. Really nice truck. And that deal didn't go down. And so then I said, well, you know what? Maybe what I'll do is I'll trade the Ranger truck for the F-250 Tremor. And so that, that kind of makes sense to a degree, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense. And then I'm always the wheeler dealer trying to, get deals. And more than ever, I've talked about this in my videos, the ADM, the used car market, it's just crazy. And actually I'm benefiting from this because my used cars have incredible value. But where I do not benefit from it is when you go to buy a new truck or car, they're marking the heck out of these things. It's incredible. So, this is, you've heard the stories, but so I was actually looking at a Ford Leadfoot 37 Raptor, and, we actually negotiated a pretty good deal, but the numbers just weren't coming to my liking. And, here's the thing. These dealers are getting $25,000 over on these Raptors. I think in some parts of this country, they're probably getting 30 to 50. It's just, you know what it is? It's PPP money. If you watched any of my videos, the payroll protection monies that were handed out to businesses, people have no idea how many businesses were given just borderline free money. And yeah, there was a lot of businesses that definitely used that money appropriately, but there's so many small businesses that got that money, and what they're doing, they're buying Ram TRXs, they're buying boats, they're buying property, they're buying Raptor trucks. Yeah, you may think I'm being mean maybe in some ways is saying this, but I'm not lying to you. That federal government money for the pandemic, there are so many companies that got just wads of money. And whether you realize it or not, if you got $100,000 for your business to cover payroll that $100,000, 40% of it goes to the payroll. So in order to waive, you have to pay the monies back. 40% of the money had to go back to payroll. The other 60% of the money, the other 60 grand is for you to use it at your will, what you want to do with it. I mean, it's got to be within reason. I mean, it has to be paying rents to maybe rent a building. Maybe you're upgrading your business and did, renovation. Maybe you're buying a Ram TRX truck or a Raptor truck as a company business truck vehicle. I mean, that's legitimate. So, there's just so much, in my eyes, fake money going around this country right now. I don't do, the gloom and doom videos. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there are so many people on YouTube that make daily videos of how the country's going to go to the ground. It's going to be incredibly disastrous times, and it's incredible how many people watch these videos. I mean, and how many subscribers these people have, where all it is, you're preaching fear. Something in media content is you start preaching fear, it gets attention, and that's not my goal. My goal is not to create a YouTube channel of fear. I'd rather have a YouTube channel of fun and how do you overcome challenges and how do you become bigger and better during hardships, because I've done all that. For me, I've gone through incredible challenge in my life and I've survived, and I actually have come out bigger and better. I'd rather have those type of videos. Who the heck wants to watch a video that talks about, oh, this is going to maybe happen, that's maybe going to happen, yeah. So, this conversation here is about how the used car market and the new car market is crazy pricing because of the supply issues for new cars. And so my challenge now is, for me, I buy cars all the time. I buy them and then I keep them a year, 2 years, and then I trade out of them and get something else. But now more than ever, what the banks are doing is they're not buying all this overture in these vehicles. The banks, unbeknownst to the consumer, the banks are very nervous. And somebody say, well, here you go. You're now talking about the guy, the gloom and doom. No, I'm not talking about gloom and doom. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about how behind the scenes, the banks are seeing that give you an example. A Raptor truck is $85,000 with a 37 package, 85 grand. You add 25 grand to that, and you're looking basically at about $108,000, $107,000, $110,000, $112,000, whatever the exact numbers are, and the packages add 25 to that. So the banks are seeing this, and the banks are saying,
approaching a railroad crossing.
Isn't that nice? I got my Waze on here. So what the banks are saying is, hey, wait a second. This dealer that bought this Raptor truck that's retailing for 85 grand, it cost them probably 70. Yeah, don't believe this. Oh, we're only making 2-3 grand off these trucks. That's such malarkey. It's ridiculous. So the banks are saying, hey, what's the real value of this truck if anything should happen down the road? And their attitude is, yeah, it's worth $70,000 at best. And we got a guy here that's wanting to finance it with an ADM and put some money down, and we're now backing this truck for $100,000+. Nope, we're not going to do that. So what I'm seeing more than ever in all my years of buying vehicles is the banks are saying, hey, you need to put down, substantial monies, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. What? How stupid are you? Because now you're truly buying into, you're paying the huge overtures on these vehicles, so the banks aren't at risk. So, and once again, do these vehicles move? They do move. Back to the fake money. Back to so many businesses have gotten the PPP money. And in all sincereness, there's a lot of businesses that have made a bloody fortune out of this pandemic. So, there's a lot of hardships out there. But going back to, the used car, new car market. So for me, my gut instinct is, and shouldn't you listen to that, is don't buy a new car right now. Don't buy a used car right now, because you're going to be paying way over the value of the vehicle. And so for me, yeah, I'm the guy that goes out and buys cars all the time. And, I guess the reality is I'm not going to be buying new cars for a while because the banks literally are like, hey, we're not buying all this debt. So, you need to put a ton of money down to make the deal go down, which for me, if you're flipping cars like me, I think you're foolish taking tons of money and putting it in a car only to, trade it down the road or sell it down the road. Now, if you're going to keep it forever, yeah, I get all that. But at the same time, if you're going to pay $25,000 for over on a vehicle, yeah, you better keep it for the rest of your life, because otherwise you're going to take a horrendous hit on it. Yeah? Or, you don't care. I get all that. Hey, so, all right, let me kind of switch up here. So this little Ford Ranger truck that I'm driving today, which has the performance kit on it, it's a great little vehicle. And, so I got to thinking, here's the danger. Yesterday I drove an F-250 Tremor truck set up like my F-350. And a lot of people right now would be like, well, if you got an F-350 truck, why the hell would you want an F-250? And you know what? You're right. Why the hell would I want an F-250? And the only reason I do want the F-250 Tremor truck is because, number one, they're not charging huge ADM. They're still wanting ADM, but I think I can kind of get that number down to a degree, but not radical, but still, they're wanting 10 grand at ADM. Could I maybe get them down to 5 ADM over? I probably could. Now, the biggest thing is the F-250 versus the F-350 is it's a big difference in the ride. That's why I'd love to get that truck and do a really good video, because I'd be able to show people, hey, if you're on the fence, F-250, F-350, I'm going to tell you, there is a big difference in that ride of that truck and how it feels. It's a really nice ride. I really like that truck. My daughter drives my F-350 all the time, and yeah, can I pull her out of that? I could. Does she drive it if I need to drive it? No, of course not. But at the same time, for me, if I can take my Ranger truck and I can flip it for the Tremor truck, then, why not? I mean, to me, that's just a no-brainer. Let's just go ahead and have some fun, and, I'll take that fun with that new Tremor truck. But, the not exciting news is we continue to kind of go round and round at the banks and trying to get them to buy the deal, and the bank wants they want too much money down. I mean, for me, now, going back to the conversation of how a lot of people these days are riding off the change of our economy and the hyperinflation, and there's a lot of guys out there that make videos on a daily basis, just revving it up, that their videos basically say to you, you're done. You're going to lose your assets. You're going to maybe be out of a job. Gas is going to be $5-6 a gallon. The housing market's going to crash. The list goes on and on and on. Now, could that happen? Well, sure. Anything's possible. But for me, I'm around a lot of businesses. And what's interesting, a lot of these guys in these videos make claims that I just think are really not factual. They're making these claims like car dealerships don't do the business they used to do.
Camera reported ahead.
And I'm thinking to myself, where's this coming from? I mean, the car dealerships that I deal with, these guys are not hurting for business. I mean, they're, what I'm coming to find out, which I kind of start to question this whole, inventory challenge, is every car dealership I walk in, there's plenty of people there in the dealership buying cars, and people paying premium price for cars. So, and then my motorcycle buddies that I have, it's the same story. So, as of this moment, I have not seen anything radical indicating that people aren't spending money. But if you listen to some of these videos out there from people, they're presenting a picture that people aren't out buying stuff. Now, hey, I'm not the expert market financial guy, but I do live in the field of my life of being in and out of doors of businesses, and I can honestly tell you that most businesses are doing incredibly well right now. The relationships I have with lots of businesses, they are not hurting. They're seeing record profits. So, I don't know, and yes, I agree. It takes time for expensive things to catch up. Higher prices of fuel, higher prices of food, etc. Over time that has an impact on people's financial circumstances. But for the immediate future, it's not anything that's playing out right now. Can it play out down the road? Well, sure. But for you as an individual right now, my thoughts are about cars, which you've heard me voice numerous times, is I think if you're able to sit out the market, then you're probably better off sitting out the car market right now, because you're paying premium price for vehicles. For me, yeah. Does this make any sense, right? Here's a guy talking to you. Hey, buddy. Hey, you need to not buy a car, but hey, for me, yeah, I'm gonna go buy a new car, right? Yeah, I mean, I can hear the people laughing and just having like, click, turn that video off. I mean, right, I get it, So, but here's the thing: have I bought any vehicle per se? With the circumstances that I'm talking about, with the exception is the Tremor F-150 truck. I bought that, and yeah, I paid a little bit, I paid some ADM on it. Not radical, but for me, that's such a great truck. Is that a vehicle I'm going to part with anytime soon? No, so I'm not worried about that, and that's what I'm saying. If you're going to buy a vehicle and keep it forever, and yeah, whatever, don't let them don't pay radical ADM, but if you have to pay sticker, yeah, whatever. And it makes financial sense, then yeah, I think I would do it. But right now, I'd have to honestly say that I don't think that's going to happen. So I think it's going to be another story of just sitting on the sidelines. And, you got to wonder at some point, do the, car dealerships and, other toy, I should say more of the cars, because that's more of an item that most people need to get around transportation. But do people start saying, hey, I'm just not going to pay the bill and I'm just going to sit it out? And so then do you start to see the car market start to change? And, for the immediate future, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see it. And just because of the supply and demand that's in the market. And I think people, for the most part, are doing very, very well still. I'm just not really hearing a lot of hardship stories of individuals losing their jobs from lack of business. And keep in mind, I'm not talking about the pandemic-related issues that went on, up through this past summer. I'm talking about now, today. My information that I read and see and being out in the field, it isn't about people not being able to get a job. There's plenty of jobs out there. It's a question of people want to work. So I can't see the person crying the blues and hardships, because that would then, they chose upon themselves for the hardships. First, as well as I do, economic times turn, and then, you're told you can't work because the company doesn't have enough work for you. That's a whole different story, but I'm not hearing that story. And I'm sure anybody here would agree. It's like, I'm not hearing the story of businesses letting go of people because they don't have enough business. Now, could that change? Well, yeah, but now here we go. This is the videos where guys get an incredible following of the negative, the world's doom and gloom. And, how do you make something bigger and better out of this? How do you rise above the challenges that we face now with the hyperinflation and the change of business, structure and how people do business from the pandemic-related challenges? That would be a better video, in my opinion. Hey, looky here. Look at this. Skies are breaking. Here got some sunshine. Does that mean anything as I go to the dealership to pick up my, I talk a lot, don't I? Yeah, so here's the thing. What's the odds of this? So yesterday we tried to do a deal with the Bullet, and, the deal didn't go down. And so when I get back home, I realized the sales guy, by accident, kept the key. And this isn't a thing where he kept... Yeah, that's dangerous. What do I trade out? What And thing is, whenever I'll trade out, my wife would be like, why did you do that? That was one of my favorite vehicles. You should have done that, So I got like an Expedition. I got my Ford Explorer ST, which, man, that thing's such a badass vehicle. I'd have a hard time parting with that. But if you go to the doom and gloom of where things are going in life, yeah, I'll just give another 2 vehicles for one more. So at the end of the day, this week, if I did that, I got rid of 4 vehicles for 1 vehicle. So I got basically rid of 3. Then that would maybe make a little bit of sense. If you kind of know what I mean by that, So, like I say with me, you just never know. But the wife would be like, oh no, don't tell me you did that. Yeah, I know. But at the other end, like, hey honey, I got rid of 4 vehicles and only got 1. So she'd be like, well, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. But now you're driving my Ford F-150 Tremor truck. And, she hasn't driven that yet. And that's a great story because you go back to 2008 when the economy crashed in 2008. And I literally lost everything. And not, embellishing, not, trying to like, oh, wow, look at me. I lost, that isn't really the conversation here. The conversation is I was able to keep my Toyota Tundra and my Toyota FJ Cruiser. And I'll show you pictures of that while I'm talking. And my wife literally fell in love with my 4-door Toyota Tundra. That was a 2007 model. Maybe 2008 model, I don't think so. They bought it in 2007, but who the heck knows? May have been a 2008 model. So, but I bought it in 2007 before the economy crashed. But I mean, oh my gosh, she drove that thing to work and she wouldn't give that damn thing back. And I needed a truck to work out of. And, I ended up buying a little trailer for my tools and equipment to drive around with my FJ Cruiser. So I had a little itty bitty Tractor Supply, something like a I don't know, 5x8 or 10 trailer. I don't even remember it was 4x. It was dinky. And so my wife, she just loved that Tundra truck. And it was a very nice, luxurious truck. So part of me is like, if she ever drove that Ford Tremor F-150 truck, I don't know if I'd ever get her out of that thing. Because that really is a very comfortable, nice riding. All right, got my cable here stuck, but I'm leaving the Coons Ford Baltimore store. They're having a really good day. It's the last day of the month, and everybody's taught that you go to the dealer on the last day of the month. Now, I buy cars all the time, and yeah, who doesn't know that, right? So that's kind of changing. Believe it or not, this year, even though I bought some cars, which I have, but it's not as radical as some years because, this has been a challenging year for me in my business. And I've been blessed because my business has come back to life, thank God. And instead of buying 6 or 8 vehicles in 1 year, and some people are like, what? Yeah, well, I can tell you right now that just this year, I bought that black F-450 I just sold back in January. And then, let's see here, I think I kind of had a timeout for quite a while. And then it wasn't until, because I sold a bunch of vehicles, so back in June, I dumped a bunch of vehicles. So then it wasn't until, I guess it was like July. I got rid of my Hellcat Charger, and I picked up a GT350. So that would have been my second purchase of the year. And then I ended up buying that Ford F-150 Tremor, white one. And then I ended up buying my GT500 back. Did you really consider that a purchase when I should have never let it go in the first place? Yeah, right. And then I picked up the Scat Pack Challenger. So if you there's what? F-450, GT350, that's number 2. Bought the F-150 Tremor, that's 3. Bought back the GT500, that's 4. Bought the Scat Pack Challenger, that's 5. So yeah, for me to say that, you know, some years I've bought 6 or 8 vehicles. Yeah, but since I have so many vehicles, I just kind of rotate them out, rotate them in, rotate them out. And so this year, it's kind of looking more like that's probably going to be it. I would have to say the odds are that's probably the end of the year, and it may even be for a while, maybe. I doubt it, but, you know, with the car pricing, it's crazy. You know, but as you can see from me just showing you the dealership, it's not stopping people to buy cars. So people are buying cars at premium prices right now, and, you know, the general consensus is that don't be worried about it because the high prices are going to stick around for quite a while. And I read a lot of car news and information, and one of my guys, Joe, you've met Joe, he forwarded some really good information. A lot of people are hearing about Tesla, you know, going to the $1 trillion value. It is pretty incredible that Tesla has, you know, accomplished their $1 trillion mark. You know, you can take 2 or 3 major automotive manufacturers, Ford, GM, Toyota, combined all 3. I think maybe they equal $1 trillion, maybe. I would imagine that would be close value. So, and then there's a talk with Tesla that just got the Hertz $100,000 or 100,000 car deal, which drove the Tesla stock to $1 trillion value mark, and which is phenomenal, you know, for Tesla. So many people thought they were going to go broke so many years ago. Even Elon, you know, thought that they were going to maybe be in some pretty bad you know, circumstances. But what's interesting is Joe sent me some information that, you know, Tesla's been doing really good on their production numbers in comparison to everybody else. You see how much his truck back bounces around? This truck really does bounce around a lot. It's still Ranger, you know, it does give you a lot of, you know, it's a small truck, so that does happen. And Tesla, apparently their engineers have figured out how to circumvent the silicone chips in these, you know, cars. They figured out how to master utilizing existing materials to not require more chips. I mean, I'm not the engineer, but from the basic reading that I got, Tesla's engineers have mastered how to basically utilize these chips more than other manufacturers understand how to do that, or they're using a different technology, you know, something to that degree. So Tesla's not in the pinch for their semiconductor technology in their vehicles like other car manufacturers are, because they have figured out how to you know, make the components differently than the major manufacturers, which that's a hell of a statement. You got to give Tesla credit for that. So little Tesla information there for you.